Hi, I'm Tim. Join me in this video as I take this Volantex Fw 190, and what I'm going to do is take this, open it up, try to bring out the micro RC electronics to have a source of microelectronics for other RC model airplane projects. Let's get to it. This is the Volantex Fw 190 Fw. It is a 4-channel RC model airplane with ailerons, elevator, rudder, and a throttle. The total weight of this thing with a 400 milliamp battery is just 2.2 ounces. It's an incredibly lightweight, small model, and it flies very well. I've done a video earlier on this. I'll put a link in the description. And if you'd like to buy this Fw 190, there is a link in the description to purchase one. Let's take a quick look to see how it flew during its first test flights. RC models have always been looking for available lightweight micro RC gear. I've done a number of videos with this Park Zone Ultra Micro brick. I'll put a link up here and into the description on this. This is a good system for control, but it uses a small motor, this very small 150 milliamp battery. It worked well, but it just had limited power. This Focke-Wulf uses a 400 milliamp battery. It's just a very rough gauge. The bigger the battery, probably the more power, and it produces a surprising amount of thrust. So what I'm going to do is give me a second. Let me connect the battery and we'll show how powerful the motor is. So here's the model. I've got the battery here. I'm just kind of holding it in place. We do have a very small servo for the ailerons connected directly, and there are servos inside of here, I guess, for the elevator or the rudder. And I can kind of see some access holes, some panels. I'll very carefully take those out to see what everything is inside. What I'd like to do is just show you the controls, the elevator, rudder, and aileron. Okay, they do have gyros inside of them. And to give you a feel for the motor, I'll just apply a little bit of throttle. I can't give you a precise measurement of the thrust, but there is a fair amount of thrust in this motor. So again, as we progress with the video, I'm going to take this thing apart, take out the electronics, and then we'll figure out next steps of what to put those electronics in. So this is the Fw 190, just a very nice model, just very well put together, flies great. We're just taking a look at where some of the access panels may be as we disassemble this model to try to get to the electronics. There's no real method to this. We just kind of look, experiment, get a sharp X-Acto number 11 blade. Excuse me. The first thing is take off the prop. That was just a friction fit. We simply pull it off, and there the shaft is for the motor inside the cowling. Next, we take a look underside the aircraft for the aileron servo. We'll have to take off this control arm and just to allow the rest of the wing to be taken off the airplane. The arm is taken off. There's the aileron servo with a battery compartment in front of it. There's a hatch cut away underneath the main compartment with the servos on the circuit board. Want to be careful when you cut away. You don't want to cut any wires or do any damage to the internal components. We go ahead and just take off the wing. It's glued in place. We just need to remove that. It's not going to have any purpose at this point. And there is a circuit board with the two servos, the rudder and elevator, then the motor. We can see that there. The motor's in a little casing. You can see the aileron servo off to the side. I'm not going to use that servo for future projects. It's good to plug it in from time to time to make sure that everything still works. You haven't done any damage taking apart the model itself, and everything looks to be in pretty good order. And with the transmitter we'll have to use shown here. So I've taken apart the Focke-Wulf 190. You can see the fuselage here. It's a very lightweight kind of rubberized EPP. So that's that. These are the guts that we're going to use for the next project. This is the transmitter. I just want to show you, here's the 400 milliamp battery right here plugged in. This will be the elevator right there, and this one will be the rudder. and then the motor works there, and it'll work this propeller right here. So what I have to do next is is just not enough. There's enough throw there for the rudder, but for the elevator I need a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is extend that. I'm going to figure out how to do that, and then we'll put it into our next project. So we've taken the electronics out of the Focke-Wulf. Here is the circuit board, the bottom. This is a plastic mount into the airplane, the antenna. The two servos, I replaced the servo arms on here to get a little bit longer arms for more throw. I think that will help out. This is the motor, and then we connect to the battery right here with the transmitter. So give me a second, let me plug this in, and we'll see how all that works. So here is everything here with the transmitter, and I want to show you the control surfaces here. Up, down, that should be plenty of throw. Left, right for the rudder. We're not going to use ailerons for the model that I'll use this on. And then for the motor, to arm it, this goes up and down, and then the motor works like that. One thing that's interesting about this is the stabilization on here. Here I have it all the way back to Expert 0. If I put it to the front, which is beginner, do you see how those servos move around? That's the stabilization system, trying to make the airplane fly right as this goes back and forth. I don't think I need the stabilization for the model that I'll be using. It's going to be a Guillows transition, but by turning that off, I just have direct control for the Guillows. That should be okay. My intent is to convert this or insert this equipment into a Guillows model. In the past, and I'll have a link to this in the description, this is the Aranca from Guillows. I use a much smaller electronics, these Park Zone Ultra electronics. Again, I'll have a link for all this. These can be a little bit tricky to get. You have to do a Google search for them. Stevens Aero has a site. Again, I'll put that in the description. But these are small electronics with a smaller motor right here. And pretty much the upper weight limit was 3 ounces. With this motor, which is bigger, I think that'll have a little bit more room to go with this conversion. We'll find out. But what I wanted to point out with this one, this model, or these electronics, I had to use with this radio right here. The question comes, could I bind this to my DX6 transmitter? And the answer is, you have to try it out. The receiver has to have special technical characteristics to bind to the Spectrum transmitters, and I don't have enough information on exactly who makes this or even what it is to know that. You just have to see if it'll go into the bind mode, then go to bind it. I was unable to do that, but I just wanted to point out with these receivers, to enter the bind mode, it's pretty simple. You simply take the battery, and if you look here, you're going to see a little light come on. As we plug in the battery, there's that light, and after a few seconds, you get the flashing light. That means the receiver's in the bind mode. It's looking for a transmitter to bind. There is no bind button or procedure to bind this transmitter. I tried with the DX6. It works with this one, but I did not get into the bind mode with that one. So that's just background information for you. So it's no matter. I'm happy with these electronics. Everything with the battery weighs 1.2 ounces, which is pretty light. And we will try to put that into a Guillows project. One other thing to keep in mind when you're repurposing these electronics that are tied to a certain transmitter that comes with the airplane, these are pretty basic transmitters. They certainly function. They'll have a few buttons for the gyro stabilization, but they don't have more common bind modes or the ability to reverse the direction of the throw for the controls. So what I do is I make a pretty careful diagram of where the battery is, the antenna, so I can orientate the controls here so that I know, for example, up, down, right, left for these control arms, because you've got to plan ahead and put those into the model, because you can't easily reverse the control throw of those servos once it's installed. So with this knowledge, you just have to plan ahead like we did in the old days before computer radios, the location of the servos and which direction you put the control horns on the control surface to get the proper direction of throw. So with these electronics I've taken out, which I think are pretty good, lightweight, powerful electronics, I'm going to attempt to put them into the Guillows Cessna 150. Always have my eye on this. I think it'll be a good candidate for this. So I will
This is being filmed, obviously. I've not done that yet. I'll give an update on the description and a card when the conversion is complete and we have success, hopefully, with the Cessna 170.